Yeah.
Yeah, you know the numbers.
You know them.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Actually, I don't. What is Spanish zero cero?
I have no idea.
I don't know the numbers, and I don't know
I
negative
don't.
one.
I just -1.
I don't know him or the word. Mm-hmm. In Spanish.
Hey, I like milkshakes. Milkshakes are great. And yes, I do have
Mm-hmm.
bigger issues than starvation,
Mm-hmm.
like building
And
things or
milkshakes.
moving things.
Mm-hmm. Milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard. So if you want to get the boys together,
Hey,
mm-hmm.
but my
Maybe you can get some
milkshake brings
Backstreet
all the
Boys.
boys to the yard. It's
Mm-hmm. Well,
better
then
than
you better.
yours.
Well, can you put your milkshakes out so we can bring the boys together? We can have a good night, like a good time.
I don't know.
I mean, we did have a little bit of a boys' night on a couple of weeks. What was that?
The
A
night you
week and
got
so
married,
ago. Yeah.
that wasn't really a boys' night.
No, but we got the boys together.
We did. We had
Mm-hmm.
all of BSS together in the same room for the first
Mm-hmm.
time ever. I think I
That's
posted
right.
it on I posted it on multiple Discord servers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about time.
I know. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, welcome guys. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show that we do on every Wednesday except for last Wednesday when we didn't do the show. But doggone it, we've been pretty doggone consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Doggone it.
Yeah, like once a year or less is our record. So of days off.
I know.
So we're pretty good. We're pretty good. It has been less than one a year.
It has,
Pretty
when you
sure.
go through like all the times we've missed and all the years we've been doing this, you're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, so yeah, welcome. This is our show that is all about you guys, your issues. Just if you got something you want us to talk about, just send it to us at don'tworrywednesday.com. The link is right there in the chat. You can just click it and you can
Mm-hmm.
post it. And you hit the
Boom. Thanks,
submit a
Solar.
topic button and go boom, and there it is. And
Oh,
yes.
we got one.
Um
Perfect. Thanks,
oh
J-Ho.
man, August.
I'll start processing it now.
I can't adopt a puppy, man.
Mm.
My kids both want dogs. They want multiple dogs. I'm like, sorry.
Mm.
Like, as long as there's a studio in my house, I'm probably never going to have a dog in my house. And I'm probably always going to have a studio in my house.
Yeah, that
Zay
makes
is the
sense.
BSS dog.
I mean, at least just to distance yourselves from dogs.
Hmm?
You're always gonna have a studio for the purpose of distancing yourself from a dog.
No, I'm always going to have a
No, and you don't
studio
have to.
because I'm a musician.
Well, and then you also don't have to deal with a dog, so it's like a twofold
I mean,
problem
that's
solver.
true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't like dogs. I like dogs.
Oh yeah, we
I
like
love
dogs.
dogs.
Just don't wanna,
They're
don't have
fun.
to own
I,
one.
anytime I meet a dog, I get along with it. Unless it's like mean to me, then I'm not nice to it.
Yeah,
If it's
fair
nice to
enough.
me, I'll be nice back, and I default nice.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's nice.
you just got a new dog. Ah, that's great.
Is it cute?
Dogs need homes, and they're not coming to mine. So I'm glad that you opened your home to a dog. Moonlit, you're here and awake. Good job. Good job. You made it. Anyway, yeah, so if you're having some kind of issue you're going through in your life, we'd love to talk about it. We'd love to chat about it. We are not professional counselors, therapists, or attorneys or anything like that. So the advice we give is strictly for entertainment purposes only, and you should probably never follow our advice anyway. I think that covers the legal thing. But yeah, but sometimes, you know what? And also, a lot of times you're smart enough to figure this stuff out on your own, but it helps to have friends around you. It helps to have an outside perspective sometimes. And sometimes it just helps to even just posting it, even just typing it
Mm-hmm.
out, writing it out, and sending it is enough. Even just, you know what? Honestly, sometimes just writing it out on a piece of paper and then burning it. is therapeutic and
Fair
can
enough.
help you. But if you'd like to if you'd like to have us weigh in on an issue that you might be going through, feel free to send it to us in the chat. We'd love to help in any way we can, but most of all, we'd love to be your friend. We'd love to love you.
We love to love you.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, you can put it in my server. Or you can put it in Ryan's server. I don't know who your is. It's either me or Ryan, probably. Or maybe it's somebody in the chat. Put it in a server. Wherever you want to put it. Saule, it's been less than one missed show per year, but all of the missed shows I've been here for have been this year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. It's all about loving people. We want to love you. We want to love you right where you're at because, we're all going through stuff at any given time. And, we all need love at all those times.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Well,
because.
whether you're going through something or not, you need love.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Exactly. And we want to love you. That's what we want to do.
That's right.
So, yes. So it's great to be back. It's great to be here. I love you guys. I love hanging out here. I love doing this show. I love hanging out with Ryan. How are you guys doing? You guys look great so far.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing awesome. Fantastic. Really good. Thank you. How are you doing?
It's tremendous. It's tremendous and it's hot.
It is hot.
Mhm.
Tremendously hot.
I'm sure it's right up your alley. You love the hotness.
I do love the heat, but I'll tell you, it doesn't mean it's always comfortable. We were outside a lot today and walking around in the sun, and yeah, it was definitely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as painful as being in the cold. So I'm grateful that it wasn't cold instead.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm surprised your brother was getting around as good as he was. You mentioned that earlier. We worked hard yesterday. Me and Kyle, man, we moved a couple 1,000 pounds worth of metal
Insane.
in the heat.
No thanks.
It was
Crazy.
ridiculous. It moved it out of this dude's field.
You guys got to
basically.
be careful with that.
Oh, I got cuts all over my legs. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Don't get a
It's
heat stroke.
It's a paint booth, right? We need to have a paint booth for our new cabinet company, and so we needed to, and so it's an automotive paint booth, and so it's basically for painting cars. So you've got this big, huge fan that weighs like 500 pounds, and then you've got like all these walls. It's like 15 feet by 20 feet by 12 feet, so it's huge. And it's all big, huge metal panels, and it's just ridiculous. We're stuffing it in a truck as best we can, and we only got like most of it. We got to go back.
Oh,
get the
really?
rest. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey, bruises all over your legs. And cats, no, I have not seen the new Deadpool. I haven't had a chance to do much of anything movie-wise. It's been a really, really busy month. Crazy.
Mhm.
Zay got another gig for front of house, $800 payout for one day.
Wow, nice.
That's a good day, man.
That's awesome, Zay. Way to go.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be right back. August having a chill day, especially after having lots of good food. Oh, I love good food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The Deadpool Wolverine movie. Yeah. Yeah, Deadpool Wolverine. I've I've been excited about that movie. My sons are more excited about the Fortnite skins.
Well, they both cost money.
They do. They
So,
do.
choices.
Yep.
Mhm.
Cool. I'm glad it was a good movie. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I probably won't actually get to see it until it comes out on, Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever,
For some reason, my brain auto finished your sentence to until it comes out in VHS. So that might not be
Yeah.
for a while.
That's when I'm going to see it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna see it until that movie comes out on VHS.
So I guess I'll never see it.
Mhm.
Well,
I'm sure someone's gonna put it on VHS.
probably somebody somewhere will put it on VHS. a few generations behind. Yeah, at least a few.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a man. Did the millennials
Yeah.
have VHS? You had VHS when you were kids. You're a millennial, right? I mean,
I
I'm
don't know
kind
what
of
I am.
borderline.
I have no idea what I am.
All right.
I
I
don't
don't
pay
know.
attention to mainstream culture, memes, and stuff.
Oh yeah, well, you
I
got
am what
all
I
these
am. I don't know.
gens. Everybody's railing against Gen Alpha because that's like the people who are like 12 years old and under or whatever.
They're kids. They're
I
gonna
know.
be weird.
Yeah.
It's like when the last generation, Gen Z, I mean, everyone railed against them, and then the
Yeah.
generation before that, everybody railed against them.
I still rail
They're
against Gen
just kids.
Z.
They're all weird.
Gen Z's
Hmm.
wrecking the world, but the millennials are also wrecking the world, and Gen X are wrecking the world, and Gen Alpha is
And the
wrecking
baby
the world,
boomers,
and the baby boomers have already wrecked the world. So we're wrecking
they
an
wrecked
already
the
wrecked
world. Yeah.
world, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. That's all right. I think we're doing great. I
We're
think we're
doing
doing great.
great, man. The world's a
Hmm.
big old mess. Come in, come
Yeah.
and join us.
Hey, it's less of a mess than it was 1,000 years ago. So
You know
I'm
what? You're
happy.
right. We got air
I'm
conditioning
so
now.
happy.
I'm excited
Hmm.
for air conditioning. They didn't have that in 1,000
Yeah,
years
could you
ago.
imagine? Wow. Yeah, it's like, hey, pick any time you could live from now or any time backwards, and it's like, yeah, I've kind of gotten used to being able to search things up online, just for any answer I want ever.
Yeah.
I've kind of just gotten used to the whole fact that I'm not always fighting over, like death or life with food or heat or
Mm-hmm.
water
Mm-hmm.
or animals or whatever, bugs, all the diseases. It's just like, you know what? Pretty nice.
Yeah.
We did a pretty good job of fixing the place up for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'll pick now.
And you can poop indoors.
Oh my gosh. One of the most wonderful marvels of all. Pooping indoors.
Yeah, man. It's great. Indoor
Hmm.
plumbing is such a great thing.
Hmm. Actually, it is amazing because water just comes right to your house.
Yeah.
Crazy. Dang.
Yep. And then
We don't
goes
have to go
out.
out to the well.
Nope. You don't got to take a
Wow.
bucket.
We are so spoiled.
We are. We are. Yep. And now it's all a
Mhm.
basic right. Everybody has a
Yep,
right to all these things that nobody had 1,000 years ago, right?
that's right.
Yep. But
Or
that's
even
okay.
200 years ago for a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true.
Hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, so let us know. Let us know if you got something for us to talk about. Kat's already said a topic in the chat, I think. How do you break into Joe's house?
Hmm.
That's a topic. I mean, you are more than welcome to break in. It's pretty easy to break in. You'll
Hmm.
probably find an unlocked door somewhere. Uh,
It's the aftermath of all that.
we
That's the quite difficult part.
try to lock them all, but yeah, once you're in here, then you'll find out there's a big old booby trap named Joe. And
That's a trap.
I might just hug you to death, like it'll be
Oh
great.
man, just snuff the life right out of you with a big ol' hug.
We're like, who's that? Who's there? And then you'll have to tell me not your actual name, but you have to tell me your
Oh
YouTube
man.
name.
Oh yeah, and you'll have to do that real quick because otherwise, yeah, but
Um.
you will be being squeezed already with such a hug that you won't be able to speak. So you better get that out real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can grand slam. Although, you know what? I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, but the journey to black belt in Taekwondo did include getting laid out on the floor by a 13-year-old third degree black belt girl.
Mm, amazing.
She like laid me out. It was crazy. Yes, I know your real name. In fact, I know most of your real name. If you've ordered something from the store, I probably know your real name.
Not that you've
Probably.
memorized it, but maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's got a good memory.
Usually.
He will later, one day in the future, watch that weird movie that you guys were talking about on VHS, and he will be able to quote like 2/3 of every line in the movie after he's done watching it, and it's like, it's insane. I don't understand it at all. I think it's impossible, but he does it. So Joe has a miracle brain.
You know, but it's funny because I'll remember stuff like that, but then I'll forget where I put my phone.
Well, of course. Yeah, that's true. Isn't that how it is, though?
That's always the way it is. You know, it's crazy.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Do I okay, wait a second. Do I have your credit card information? I don't think so, because all that goes through a third party, and so we don't ever see the credit card information. That all gets we don't collect that actually. That all just happens elsewhere. Nor do I have the time to look up your credit card information. And quick, what's your address? I know that the city is also a state, but I don't know the rest of it.
Wow.
It's like
I like how that answer is, you answered very quickly, and it's such an answer that no one's going to be able to figure it out, but if it is correct, it's correct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of that.
Yeah,
you
live in
cities and
you live in like
other states.
You live in like Montana, Wyoming, or something like that.
Well, now you've given it away.
Yeah, now everybody knows. That's where Zay lives.
Yeah.
You have all of Zay's information. You know what? You have Zay's credit card information? What's up, Star Shy? Shay? I know it's also Meowlido.
Meowlido. Oops, wrong account. That's all right. Yeah. Hey, Meowlido.
Welcome.
Hey, it's nice to see ya.
Mars. Zay lives on Mars.
Zay, how'd you get way up there?
Did I ship something to Mars? If I shipped something to Mars, you can probably thank Elon Musk for that.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you ship something to Mars, does it end up at Elon Musk's office? What happens? The U.S. Post just walks it over to Elon's desk and is like, here you go, buddy. Got another one. You said you were on that mission. You're the one going. Here it is. I like that.
Nice. You live on Mars. Perfect.
Yeah, Mars does have bars.
You know what? I was just in a really, really tiny little town. My brother lives in a tiny, tiny, tiny town up in the UP. They have 2 bars there, though.
Are they made of iron?
No, like bars where you get beer.
Oh, I thought like maybe it was jail cell bars.
I think a town has to have, no matter how big the town is, they have to have 2 bars, because if somebody gets kicked out of one, they have to have another one.
They have another place to go, yeah. And how can you go bar hopping if you don't at least have 2? I mean, one feeds into the other.
I know.
It's
right?
like if you have 1 bar, you're not going to make very much money. If you've got 2, you're in business.
That's right. That's right.
If you're open up on a bar, you better open up a bar right next door. So just open up 2 at the same time. You'll make twice as much money. You'll make more than twice as much money. Like 8 times as much money.
Yep. In my hometown, there are 2 bars right across the street from each other. There's a lot more bars. There's like, there's probably like 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that.
Wow. That's surprising. That's a lot.
And I see Jesse in the chat. Jesse, welcome.
Yeah, I know, right? I was so happy to see him.
Jesse's here.
Jesse, I love you.
You can thank Jesse for this show still being able to be produced, because he taught us how.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Jesse.
He ran it for a long time in the beginning, and then he got busy, and so he's like, I can't do it anymore. And it's like, well, you got to teach us how, and so he did. I did that. You
old
went
days.
with hey, Meow, you went with the LG Gram 17.
Oh,
man,
okay.
oh man, you're gonna love it, man. It's a great computer. That's what I have.
Nice.
Oh, you got better graphics. Lucky.
Mm,
Lucky. I want better graphics.
nice. Nice. That's awesome.
Um, yeah. All right. Well, what do you say we jump into a topic here?
I think that's a great idea. Splendid.
Mm-hmm.
Marvelous.
Wait, Moonlit, you
Wonderful.
have 400 bars in your town. You must live in a pretty decent sized town.
Um, dang. Or they're
That's,
talking about
it's
different
a
kinds of
well,
bars.
it's a city.
Yeah. City, my bad. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. City
Yeah.
is the right word.
400 bars, man. That's crazy.
Wow.
But for a big
Well,
city, I mean,
like,
if you're in a big city, that makes sense.
maybe if like you're in Vegas or something, I think then you're maybe even more. It's like you're talking like 1,500
Mm-hmm.
because that's all they have there.
I mean, then I have 1,499 bars to get kicked out of,
Wow.
which would be fun. That'd be one
That'll
heck
really
of a
only take a
night.
couple of days. That'd be one heck of a night. You went even farther with it. One heck of a night. Once got kicked out of 1,499 bars in one night.
Yep. Good
Okay,
thing I had
Batman.
1,500.
Yeah, not gonna top that. All right, I don't want to.
Nice. Well, all right. Well, let's see. We got some topics here. Do we have any more new ones? Let's take a look.
Yeah, we can
Nope.
take a look. Yeah. All right. Looks like we got 4, and 2 of them are quite old, right? Yeah.
Oh, we do have 4. Look at that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Well, let's do them.
Yeah, let's roll, bro. All right,
Bro.
so J-Ho, you're here and you want to be present. So we're going to start with yours. I'm the
That's
host.
right.
I get to choose.
I'm letting him choose because I'm not the host, and I don't have a choice.
Of course.
Is that letting you, or is that just? I don't know what the word for that is.
You're letting me choose?
I'm not getting in the way, at least. We'll say that.
All right. That's
Mhm.
cool. All right, cool. All right. So let's see. I'll get this topic up on the screen for you guys so you can read it. And then I will read it aloud here in just a second. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. So this is from J-Ho. And here it is. It goes like this. How do you help others cope with the loss of a loved one while grieving yourself? How do you help others cope with the loss of a loved one while grieving yourself? All right. Thank you, J-Ho. This is from J-Ho here, and this is a great topic. Well, it's a sad topic. Sorry, I totally misspoke. But yeah, okay. So how do you help others cope with the loss of a loved one while grieving yourself? Actually, sometimes in some ways that's the best way. It's the best spot to be in to help someone grieve is because then you can grieve together.
Yeah, shared grievances.
And you can relate to each other exceptionally well when you're also going through the same thing. Now I have a similar experience. It wasn't with death, but one of my best friends, Steve, and I both went through our divorces at the same time. And so because we had that shared experience while we were both going through it, we were really able to lean on each other in a very unique and helpful way because we were both handling the same type of stuff at the same time. And so we could really, really relate to each other at a deep level. And that was so helpful for both of us as we traversed that. So how do you, I think, man, the best thing I can tell you to do is just open your heart, open up, and just relax and be yourself and feel that pain that you're dealing with and allow them also to feel that pain. Because when you are also in the same type of pain, you're not going to judge them. You're not going to be trying to tell them what to do. You're not going to be trying to tell them how to act. It's, you're both going through it, and you're going to have such a degree of empathy that just your very presence in being with that person is going to be so helpful. You won't even know. You don't even know, but it'll be really, really helpful. But I'm very sorry for your loss. If this is recent, I'm very sorry. Even if it's not, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss at any rate. But you know, it's definitely a part of our lives, and people come and go in our lives. Important people to us come and go, and when they go, it's painful. And so I'm really, really sorry that you're going through that. But coping with it, helping another person cope with it, I think you guys are positioned quite well to help each other and to lean on each other as you navigate this. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Ryan and let him riff on this topic for a little bit. So Ryan, it is all yours, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, first I'm going to start out with Jeho. I'm so sorry that it's been rough. Um, it it's always rough, isn't it? But yeah, I'm sorry that it's been extra rough lately, and I sincerely hope that however this roughness pans out, that it manages to smooth other things out in your life a little bit more. Um, Life is hard sometimes. It's harder for some than others. Our experiences aren't equal. Our experiences aren't the same. And maybe the loss of this particular loss that this person has dealt with and your grievance aren't connected, or maybe they are. But either way, I think what Joe's saying is a really great start. And actually great finish too. To be honest, I don't really think I have any better advice than that. I think that's really the key here, because I mean, we've talked about this a few times on Don't Worry Wednesday, but one of the best ways you can help someone is not necessarily by giving advice like we do here on Don't Worry Wednesday, or trying to help them through it by talking to them and so on and so forth. Legitimately, the best way I've ever encountered in my own life, or watching the lives of others, is to be with them and just go through the journey and invite them along with your journey. Be in their journey and invite them along with your journey, and your friendship, the things you talk about, the respect you gain for each other, the shared losses, the shared gains. That's what changes people the most.
Mm-hmm.
That's what helps people the most. That's what helps us all get through things, whether it be something like conquering fears to learning how to do something, or whatever. I think that when we go through things together as united, my gosh, that's it, And there's something beautiful about being united. Mm-hmm. It's not just that, like, I think all of us to some degree desire a unity in our lives, and it can be many things. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can be a type of friendship where we're really united on something, and we might not agree on everything, but we're united by cause, or we're united by cause or mission, I mean to say. We have the same goal in mind, and we have a similar, you could say, attitude or moral framework or way we go about things. It's just, there's a similarity to it, but it's also different enough that our unity amplifies each other's effects, amplifies each other's abilities, and helps both of us to grow. So, but another unity that isn't even necessarily by mission or cause, it could just be a regular old friendship. you know? And it could also be the experience of loss. When we're unified, we amplify each other. And I think we've all seen that happen in life. And we all have been I think almost all of us at least, have been in a place where we're like, man, I don't know, you just feel unified to something and it feels amazing. So I would say the best advice I could give is what Joe gave right off of the bat, and that is to recognize you are in a similar scenario, even if slightly different, with different minds processing it. And maybe you feel like, well, I can handle it better than they can, so I'm gonna step up and try to help them. But maybe you're like, well, that's not true. I can't handle it. To be honest, I'm falling into this pit, and I don't know. I'm just trying to help, I guess. It doesn't really matter how you feel. But either way, I think if you can just aim for that unity and allow that to be part of an adventure that leads you guys both forward. Because if you guys you and another person can set your minds on something together and join for that cause, or even if it's just fun, even if it's just playing together, or maybe it's work, or maybe it's something grandiose. Maybe it's saving up money for a cool trip, or like you guys want to go to like some other country together and just be friends and do that. Whatever it is, right? It doesn't really matter. But if you can be united on something, it's a really strong way to override pain. Because a lot of the pain is going to be coming from looking back at the loss. But if your brain is focused on the hopes of the future, the gains rather than losses, if your brain is focused on the gains, it doesn't feel so bad, right? Even if you're looking back. But if you're looking forward and you're focused on gains, well, you've dodged, it's not just dodging, but it's, in a way, you dodged 2 bullets. Or in other words, you train your brain to not exercise the pain when it doesn't need to be. It's hard enough. It's like, it's hard, and you're grieving, and that's a good thing. And I'm not saying you're wasting your time grieving. No, not at all. My point is, grieving is hard work. It's painful. It's obviously not pleasant. And there's a place for it, and it's important to go through, and it's important to be there. But you can amplify it without need. You can amplify that pain for yourself in a way that is toxic, potentially. Toxic to your well-being, toxic to yourself. Or you can help yourself by helping your brain focus on the opposite, so to speak, the gains of the future. And so what I would say on top of the initial advice that Joe gave, which is to just basically embrace the pain and be there with the person, recognizing like we're both in this spot, we both don't know what to do with it, but we're both here, and admit that you can't solve their problem. And admit to yourself that you can't solve the problem, and you're not going to don't admit that you're not going to help or make a change, because that's not true. But admit that you don't necessarily know how to, and let them know you don't know how to. Because then you're both on the same page together. And from there you can work together. So long as one person is imagined to be on a foot ahead, and they're not, there's that this discord between reality and what is. Between reality and the perceived notion. And basically, you go nowhere. Because one person imagines they can help, but they can't. And the other person's relying on them to help them, but they can't. And so they don't both trust each other enough to recognize we're actually both lost here. And if we work together, and we just endure it together, we'll make way better headway than if I follow some blind person through the forest trying to get home. It's like, yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. So I think Joe's advice is a perfect first step. Recognize, like, put yourself as equals to this person and say, look, I'm grieving too, and we can share that. We can share that experience. We might not be the same. We might not be grieving over the same thing or in the same way. We might know the same person, but in totally different ways. Whatever it is, right? We're both grieving, and sharing in that, finding unity in that, goes a long way. And then when you're united, you go on for that adventure, whatever that might be, with each other, even if that adventure is painful, like just talking about the pain. And that can do a lot of good. As long as there's a respect between the two, it can do a lot of good. Because the other one feels that they have the trust to just open up and let it out without holding back. And the other one can do the same back. And that gets you really far. Even if it doesn't feel like even it's not like, oh, now it's all solved and done and now we can move on. Maybe it won't be like that, but it still gets you really far. And I think that's good. And it's good to reminisce, like you've said, and yeah, and that's really good. It's good to reminisce. It's good to talk about this stuff. It's good to get it out of your chest. Not to get it out so as to get it out so it doesn't ever return, but just to talk about it and experience that is beautiful. And then where you take that from there, I guess the next step that I would recommend is, like I said before, find something else to unify over. Find something you can chase together. And I know that that's weird, but if you can find that thing to chase together, that's going to be huge to your recovery. That's going to be huge to your healing. Like, you can't heal a wound that you keep picking. But if you let the wound be because you're preoccupied by something else, the wound will heal itself. As long as you've bandaged it up correctly, right? You've spent time tending to it, you've disinfected it, you've done what you can, then you move towards other things. The wound will heal itself. Life works a bit like that sometimes, and our minds work a bit like that sometimes. So that's my advice. And I said, it doesn't have to be something grandiose. It could be literally like, we really enjoy this game together. Let's pursue it. Let's get good at the game together. Or, hey, I like D&D, but I would never have time to get together to do it. It's like, let's make a time where we get together. Let's figure it out. Let's just get together and figure it out. It can be anything, man. But find something you can both do and chase after to some degree together and enjoy that experience. That's really the best I've got. And I know that that's hard because you are grieving yourself, and rightly so. But if you can pull yourself enough together to ask us the question, I know that you can pull yourself together enough to help you and your friend through this journey. Even if you don't know the way, even if you're just as lost. And it's okay to admit that. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to deal with this either.
Yeah.
So let's do it together. Let's figure it out together. Let's just, yeah, that's okay. So anyways, that's what I got. I know I said it multiple times in multiple ways, but I think it's important. And that's what I got. It's really the best I got. I wish I could say more. I think part of it, as I babble, I go on and on, saying the same things because I wish I had more for you. But it's hard, and that's the bottom line, I guess. But yeah, Joe, what do you got?
Thanks, Ryan. And I second everything you said. I think, and it's okay to repeat some things because sometimes you got to repeat it enough, so it really sticks.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, how many times have I listened to like a really awesome talk and then played it for the like fourth time and be like, why didn't they repeat that 10 times? Because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear it until I played it just now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah. So I see what you've got here in the chat, Jeho. You said, much obliged. Due to how spread out we are, I've been making many daily phone calls since I found out on
Mm.
Saturday as we sift through things and organize next steps. I've been focusing on reminiscing rather than the pit in my chest.
Mm.
And that is huge. Like that
Yeah.
is a huge way to, heal, a great
I was gonna say
way to
that's how
kind of
you
deal
clean
with
the
the
wound.
pain. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's why, you go to a funeral, and a lot of times what it is, people are, so you go to the funeral and it's sad and it's beautiful and it's everything, there's so much that goes on there. And, people have eulogies that are a lot of times just absolutely wonderful and beautiful. And they're meant to encourage us. They're meant to, be a way to help us experience the pain together and, get through and but really to help us remember who this person was, what kind of life they had. We reminisce in the eulogies, we reminisce at the tables, while we're eating potato salad and, whatever that people bring to the little potluck after the funeral or whatever. We talk
Better be
about it, we
potato salad.
reminisce. What's that? Better be
It's
potato
better be
salad.
potato salad.
I like potato salad. It's good stuff, man. Um, but yeah, but to reminisce and to talk about it, and it's another weird thing. One of the things that I've noticed about funerals is sometimes it's the only time that I'm together with some members of my family
Mm.
is at a funeral, and so it's a
Mm.
time for us to connect. And it's always sad, and we're always like, why is it that we only connect when somebody dies?
Mm.
Like, you know, but it's it's crazy. Everybody's got busy lives, everybody's got stuff to do, and then, something like
Mhm.
this happens, and so then it kind of shakes everything up, and now you're kind of forced into a moment where you're with people that were all connected with this person, and it's a way for you to then connect with those people again. And so what you're doing by focusing on reminiscing is spot on.
Yeah.
You know, that would be something I would advise you to continue doing as you're going through stuff. You're making these phone calls and you're talking through things, and you know remember the funny stuff, the quirky stuff. Remember the things that you guys went through together, the things you experienced with this person, and all of that is going to it'll bring you to tears, it'll bring you to laughter, it'll bring you to smiling, it'll bring you peace, it'll bring all kinds of things. It'll be a roller coaster of emotions. And that's okay. That's okay. That's how it just is. You've been learning a lot about your family this week. That's another thing that happens when when somebody
Hmm.
passes. You get together with people and you learn stuff not just about
Oh
that
yeah.
family member, but about other family members, and then maybe even
Yeah.
generations before that have gone beyond, and you start hearing stories about different things that happened, and it can be really an interesting time. And you know, it's so weird. Like, why don't we do this without without somebody dying,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it seems like a lot of this stuff happens when somebody dies, and then we tell all these stories, we reminisce all this kind of stuff, and like it would be great if we could do more of that without somebody having to pass away.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think maybe it's just the nature of how it goes. We have these connections with someone, and then they pass, And then
I,
it brings us to remember all of those the stories of our time with them, you know? Ryan, you were going to say something, it sounded like?
oh yeah, I was just gonna say I think that's just how it is, and now, I mean, um, ages past, when people lived in a totally different way.
Hmm.
Um, they said that America was just do crazy, and now that's most of the world's like that. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think that's just how it is now.
Right. You never know what you've got until it's gone. That is
That's
so
right.
true. In a lot of ways, that's so true. And sometimes you don't know how bad something was until it's gone too. That's a different topic.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I
Not
get
worth
what you're saying.
covering
In
right
in
now.
in this context, yeah, you don't know what it is that you had a hold of until it's no longer with you.
Hmm.
That's a very true statement. But yeah, I'll revert back to what I originally said, and it is just be. Understand that it's going to be painful. It's going to be hard. It's painful for you and it's painful for them. And so really you two are suited very well for each other right now to help each other through this just by being together and being yourselves and loving that other person and
Hmm.
allowing yourself to be loved. You don't have to try extra hard to say some kind of comforting word. You don't have to, try and come up with something profound or anything like that.
Hmm.
But just be there and allow them to be there with you. And wherever the conversation goes, that's where it goes. And if you cry, you cry. If you laugh, you laugh. If whatever happens, just allow it. And honestly, that's the way we heal. I remember hearing a talk about a guy who he came up with a way to get through disappointments. He gave himself 5 minutes. He gave himself a 5 minute rule where he's like, okay, he sets a timer for 5 minutes and he lets himself just vent and complain and moan and whatever, like yell and swear and beat up stuff. And once the timer goes off, he's done with it. And he's like, okay, I can't change it and move on. Now, this situation, you can allow yourself more than 5 minutes. Like this could take a while to process, and that's okay. I mean, if you go back to historical times, they had a prescription for this even in the Bible. When somebody dies, the mourning was what was it, like a 7 day? There was like a
Yeah.
7 day period of just like nobody really did much
Hmm.
of anything except
Yep.
mourn the person. But that was
Hmm.
by design to help you process and heal through that time. And then you're able to kind of get back up and get on your feet and move forward again. Now, um, we talked about at the beginning of the show how spoiled we are now because we have indoor plumbing and
Hmm.
we're not fighting for survival. We have all kinds of other stressors, but it's not, most of it is not a life or death situation. It's not like we're fighting to survive. Back then they were fighting to survive, and so it's like, to give themselves a week was pretty generous because it's like they got to, you know, there was a lot more that they had to do in order to make sure that there was food and, like all that. But as you process this, Jeho, and as you process this with this other individual, just be together and be open to each other. And I think what you'll find is you will be a balm for them and they will be a balm for you. Like a balm, like a healing balm. And that's the best you can, that's the just because you both are going through the same thing at the same time. You have that deepest level of empathy. And that's exactly what both of you need from each other. So, yeah. I'm sorry I don't have like a hugely like golden ticket advice thing, but it's really just about being you and being there. And you're already doing that. You're already reminiscing. You're already talking to him all the time. It's perfect. You're doing the right stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be hard. I understand. It's going to hurt. That's to be expected, and that's okay. A lot of times when something's painful, we think, like, we think something must be, like, horrendously wrong, but sometimes that's just how it is. Sometimes things just are painful. And this is one of those times. And I'm so sorry that you're going through this. But you guys can make it. You can make it together. And who knows? You might build a really, really strong bond with this person going through this situation. So thank you a lot. Thank you so much for the topic. Ryan, did you have anything else you had to say?
No. I unfortunately don't have much to add because sometimes that's kind of how things are.
Yeah.
I think that we've done our best to give you the best that we can give, and our hearts are with you. And J-Ho, you're strong. You've always been strong, so I'm proud of you, and I thank you for trying to do your best. I'm proud of you. You're awesome. Thank you, J-Ho.
Thank you. And yep, actually I do have a golden ticket. You should go to bss.studio and buy something from the store, and that'll fix all your problems. I'm just kidding.
Dang, if it was that easy, I would have done that first. Always.
Totally kidding.
How many purchases do you have to make for a lifetime of solution?
For a lifetime of solutions?
Yeah, so that you don't have problem.
I don't know. Let me check the
Is it like one a
inventory.
day, or is it one per problem?
Well, it just depends
Or
because we only have a limited supply of all of these things. So
we can only well, not we can solve is limited then apparently. Get a box. That's right, with every order.
yeah, that box will save
Thanks,
your
Galileo.
this box
That's awesome.
will save your sanity.
Uh-huh. Way to insert. That's great. Thanks, Mieledo. Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a joke. But yeah. Thank you very much, J-Ho, and our hearts are with you. So, yeah. Well, what do you think? You want to go on to the next one?
Yeah.
I want to check and see if there's any new ones. Nope. Just so everybody knows, there's no new ones.
Okay. There we have it.
Yes. So all right. So now we have a couple that we can jump to. We have and these are both no preference and neither are urgent. So I'm just gonna go in order that they were received. This next one comes from Ominous Anonymous with Silent Blindness.
Did we do this one before and I just forgot to
I don't know.
kill it or not? I guess once you read it and let me know what you think.
I don't think I did it. If you did it when I wasn't here, but actually that was last week and you didn't.
No, well, yeah, but when did this come in? This came in 7/10/24. That's why I'm like, we didn't do an anonymous one all the way from 7/10/24. That's surprising. That was 3 weeks ago. If anyone thinks that this is familiar, let us know. Otherwise, we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, okay. We talked about doing this, but Meows about the computer was urgent. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Saule.
Thank you, Saule. I was like, I remember opening it up and then saying that ominous anonymous. I remember Joe saying it, but I was like, yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Ominous Anonymous was not urgent, so it got pushed. Yeah, we pushed it. We gave it a push. All right. So this is called, what's it called again? Withholding Evil from Ominous Anonymous and something.
With silent blindness.
With silent blindness. Yeah. So I will put this up on the screen and you guys can read along. Here it is. How does one hear a silent cry? Can one discern if it is of sadness, anger, or a desperate call for help? But without knowledge, ye shan't be expected to help, yet the fruits of effort abound. How do I stop evil thoughts from overtaking my mind daily? I fear for my soul. Is it good enough to simply resist the urges to do bad things? Is it good enough to have the self-control to not do them? But still, I wonder, is simply having evil desires, urges, and fantasies an act of an evil self? Is simply having evil desires, urges, and fantasies an act of an evil self? From Ominous Anonymous with silent blindness. Oh, and I clicked it up. I clicked it off before I switched screens. I did things in the wrong order. My apologies. But okay. So how do I stop evil thoughts from overtaking my mind daily? And then also at the end of that, is simply having evil desires, urges, and fantasies an act of an evil self? Or I was reading that an act of evil itself. Like, is that in itself an act of evil? And the answer is no. Depends on who you talk to, because there are definitely preachers and pastors and all kinds of people out there who say the very fact that you think something or that you're tempted by something is evil. But I say no. I say that is part of life. We are all tempted. We all experience, evil desires, urges, and all that kind of stuff. And Super Neon Blue, that is a very, very good distinction. Depends on what you mean by evil thoughts, like intrusive passing thoughts, then dismissed, or actually thinking evil thoughts and continuing to think about it intentionally. That's right. That is a distinction. That is a great distinction, because yes, if you like harbor the thought and you keep it and you keep it around, like, and continually go with it, then you start to, I don't know, at that point, we what did Jesus say? Jesus said, to lust after a woman is, what? It's the same as committing adultery or something like that.
Effectively.
Don't quote me. It was basically like that, but Miaglio says, in my opinion, your choice to go against any evil desires shows that you are not evil. Thoughts oftentimes happen unwillingly and without control, and it's the choice to ... It must be more coming. Yeah, I'm with you there. Because yeah, they just happen. It's the choice to listen to the thought or be against it that shows your character. Absolutely. So, and sometimes we need help, and sometimes we fall because we're weak. And I'm like a champion at that, which is why I find myself in the confessional a lot. I went to confession today. It was great. But there are thoughts and urges and all kinds of stuff out there that are very powerful. And we can be overtaken by them. And it doesn't change. See, here's the thing, though. Is it an act of an evil self? No, you are not evil. Even if you do the thing that is evil, you are not that thing. You are you. The deed is not you. The feeling is also not you. These are separate entities. These are things we experience and actions we take, and they're things that we do, but it's not what we are. It is not who we are. And I know I've gone through this before, maybe, but I think, um, let's see. Sorry, I was just getting a bunch of messages just popped up on my screen, and I was distracted for a second. I should
Fair.
turn off these notifications during the stream. I just got a whole bunch of them. But anyway, so you are not your actions, you are not your intentions, you are not your desires, you are not your feelings. You are you, and these are experiences that you have. And like as much like so I'm happy that the LGBTQ movement happened. I'm happy that it's there. I'm happy that we, if there were people abusing people because of those desires, we needed to stop that. And so there needed to be, more like, hey, understand that these are people and that we need to love them, right? Not hate them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the problem I have is that a lot of times it seems like they boil your identity down to your desire. And that's your identity. That's who you are. I have a problem with that. Because you are not your desires. You are you. You experience your desires. You experience these feelings. But it's not who you are. Okay? All right. So anyway, I'm gonna step off my soapbox for a minute, but no, I would just help you understand. But how do you stop the evil thoughts from taking over your mind? The person to talk about that is Ryan, because he is such a tremendous guy at pursuing virtue, which I think is one of the biggest things you can do to help you move into lessening those evil thoughts that you have, those evil desires that you have, all that kind of stuff. If you want to make those less, I would say pursue virtue. And Ryan is so good at this. Like, I can't think of a better person for you to hear from on this. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and let him talk. I see the chat's blowing up a little bit, so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for saying that, Joe. I don't know if that's the truth, but I do appreciate that you say that.
It is the truth. I only speak the truth.
Oh, dang. Well, could you say something like you're a million, you're like a millionaire, and then I could help out a lot of people or whatever. That'd be cool.
Well, but if it's not the truth yet.
Well, you need to say it will become true, right? Isn't that?
No,
how it works?
I don't speak it and then it becomes true. I only speak what already is true.
Oh, that's right. Only God does that first one. He speaks
Yeah.
it and it becomes real.
Right, exactly.
You don't do that
We
part.
mere
You
mortals
just
have to like speak it and then work at it and then focus on it.
You're
and
like
then
the
do it and then
mirror.
all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're the mirror,
yeah.
not the actual object. Okay, I see.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
All right, now that we cleared that up, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry, I had my Wow. No, I think that this is I'm obviously I agree with a lot with what Joe said. I agree with everything Joe said. And I also agree with everything Super Neon Blue is saying. Really good stuff. And so to whoever asked this question, Anonymous, if you can read the chat, I highly suggest it. I think, one, how do I stop evil thoughts from overtaking my mind daily? I'm going to get to that in a second. And you say, I fear for my soul. Fair. Is it good enough to simply resist the urges to do bad things? Well, my answer to that is partially, what do you mean by good enough? And then secondly, to dismiss that question, because here's the thing. What are you doing when you dismiss these thoughts? One, you're doing an act of, it's odd to say it, I suppose, to some degree, but you're doing an act of holiness. You're doing something good when you choose to resist the bad, right? It's like, well, no, I was just being neutral, or the fact that I had these bad thoughts, that's the evil. So like, I'm not doing anything good by resisting. No, you're doing something very good. You're doing something that is, to some degree, the definition of good or holy. Why? Well, okay. Um, I mean, to me, I don't really need to go through it too much, but it's kind of obvious if you think about it. If a villain comes and attacks a city, and some superhero stops it, whether just as it's happened, before it's happened, or after it's happened, we say what the hero did, that they did good, right? They did a good thing. That their act was for the good of mankind, for the good of the city, right? Um, Similarly, if something is in your mind urging you to do bad things and you stop it and you go against it, is that good enough? Well, I would say maybe you're asking if that is that good enough to stop it from taking over your mind daily or whatever, stop the evil thoughts from coming over. It might not be good enough to stop the thoughts, the urges, but it's certainly a good thing, and you as a person are good enough, and your actions are good, right? In the fact that they stop evil, right? I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So, first thing is first, you're already doing good, and that's kind of what Myanglios was saying, right? Already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'd say, great, keep doing that. That's an important thing. We're all tempted with stuff, pretty much. All of us are tempted with something or another that's not healthy for us or healthy for the people around us. Sometimes you want to pick up your computer and throw it out the window, I guess, because things are so frustrating. But you don't. For the good of your computer and the good of yourself and the good of the people that are relying on you to have a computer and so on and so forth. It's like, oh, I'm doing a really good thing today because I didn't throw my computer. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of in a way. Kind of in a way, you are doing a good thing because you didn't give into that temptation even though you had it. So, okay. Let's get back to how do I stop? How do I stop evil thoughts from overtaking my mind daily? Okay. This is a journey, and this journey is different depending on how deep you are. All right. Obviously, Joe was saying pursue virtue. Of course, that's really good. That's really great advice. What is virtue? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to define virtue, and virtue can be many things. But if you just Google it, list of virtues, they will be easily defined many things. Here's a problem. As you pursue virtue, you're going to look at that. If you look at any list that says virtues on it, you're going to look at the list and you're going to be like, patience. Well, I have that one. I got that one down. You're going to look at another one. Oh, I got that one down. So on and so forth. If you have those thoughts, that's okay. But I would humbly like you to recommend as your first virtue to attain is humility. And it's not that if you think you're all that in a bag of chips and you have the other virtues down, you aren't humble enough. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that humility is the basis of all virtue because it is the one that allows us to see all value. And when you look at the other virtues, you should see limitlessness, endlessness, an endless potential, right? And so when you see patience, you could say, I'm pretty good at that, but I know that I could be even better because I am not patient unto infinity, right? Because all the virtues move out infinitely because we can be infinitely good. The funny thing about being evil is that you can't be infinitely evil. Because evil does not evil is abyss. Evil takes away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, when you've taken away everything, there's nowhere more to go. You know? And at some point, uh, everything just crumbles apart into pieces such that you don't even have an ability to do anything else. So, eventually, evil kind of destroys itself. That's really kind of what happens ultimately. My point isn't necessarily to go on to that, but my point is good is something that can build infinitely up, which is great. It's cool. It's amazing. And that's what we want. That's what, I mean, almost all humans want that. We look at society and be like, man, imagine where we would have been if we were just good. Like, how much technology could we have that's super cool? You know, and how much could we have learned, and how much could we have done that was beautiful? But no, all of this evil stuff had to get in the way, and blah blah blah. And we can take advantage of the evil stuff, and you know, it's quite true that there are good things that would have been impossible without the interference of evil first. You know, and that's a beautiful thing. You know, something like, even though this isn't considered an evil because it's against morality, it is considered a natural evil in that it is against health and goodness. So when someone gets an illness, right? Someone gets an illness and you're like, what good is that? What good is being made of at this point? You know, isn't it beautiful how when someone gets ill, a lot of us drop everything to go be with them and to assist them? Isn't that showcase of love one of the ultimate goods of mankind? How beautiful is it then that to some degree we do get sick? It's an awful experience, but it does bring about so much display of love and affection and care and kindness and generosity and charity and just so many of the virtues. Are you not more patient with those who are sick? Are you not more charitable with those who are sick? Right? A lot of the virtues can increase in us when we reach out to love on the ones who are sick. Right? So if you can fix your mind to that, the thoughts of evil won't be what fill your mind. The thoughts of good is what fills your mind. The thoughts of potential growth, the thoughts that bring about the wonders of the world. And so if you can fill your mind with how to love others around you, it will not immediately stop the evil thoughts. But over time, it can do a great deal. Now, here's the thing. You said the word evil. So I'm to some degree allowed to talk about the nature of evil in the spiritual context. Because evil does not exist if you do not believe in the spiritual context.
That's true.
It just can't. And the opposite of evil is holy, right? It isn't actually good. The opposite of good is bad, and that's kind of, well, what's good for one is not good for all, but what's holy for one is holy for all, right? There's a distinction. And so if we're talking about holiness, here's the thing. Holy people, incredibly holy people, the most holy person to ever live, Jesus, and every other holy person in the Bible, like Moses, we would consider him holy even though he wasn't perfect. We'd consider David holy even though he definitely wasn't perfect, right? There are a lot of people we can look up to, but none of them are perfect examples of goodness. Why? Because they have evil thoughts, and sometimes that overtakes them, and they do stupid stuff. Like, yeah, really stupid. But even Jesus, who didn't do any of the stupid stuff. Okay, two things. One, he was tempted by evil, but his evil temptations weren't necessarily in the construct of what we'd normally consider as evil. But if you look into him, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I can see how that could be evil. You know, striking the stone to cleanse his thirst and hunger. It's kind of an interesting thing because that's what Moses did. He struck the stone for water, and then you look at it and you're like, then God punished him for doing that? Because he was taking out his anger and he was harming nature, which he had no place to do. Like, why would you do that? Mm-hmm. It's just a rock, man. God was like, hey, go talk to the rock. And Moses is like, goes over to the rock and hits it. You know, it's like, dude, what's your problem? You know, it's funny because they say, oh, Moses was super meek, you know? Uh-huh. What does meek really mean? Meek means great power under control. Meek does not mean weak. It means really strong, but under control.
Yeah.
But it's funny that we say Moses' greatest virtue was his meekness. But when you read the Bible, you're like, wait, but he also had anger issues, which means he wasn't meek. And it's like...
not in all moments, anyway.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, not at all moments. And yes, that's exactly it. That's part of the point. When you're tempted with something, usually that's the thing you need to get really good at. And real quick. Because you're going to be needed for that exact thing. And it's going to, and life is going to require you to be good and holy on that thing. Because if you master that temptation, you've mastered that virtue. You do things in the world that people's lives will be changed forever. And generations. And that's how it works. So if there's a specific, maybe it's broad, maybe it's a lot of things, but if there's a specific thing that is like tempting you, get real good at that. Be a master of that. Because Moses was meek. He was a master of it. But not at the start. His story starts off like literally with him killing somebody because they struck a slave and they're like, dude, then Moses just killed him, okay? Like, he's strong. But like unduly so. He it wasn't good for him that he was that strong, right? But eventually his meekness is what pulls everyone together and makes history. And makes history. Like, and so, I mean, back to Jesus, who has made history, right? He's tempted by multiple things. One of the things that he's tempted by is power. You know? And he looks at it and he's like, no. It's funny because then what does Jesus do? He relinquishes, he's supposed to be God, and he relinquishes all power so as to let humans basically carry him off, hit him, strike him, and then nail him to a cross and kill him. I mean, he relinquished all power. I mean, that's incredible, right? And it's like, and he's our light and our guide, but he's our example of virtue in this world. And I know, it's like, if that's what virtue gets me, then why would I want it? The answer is holiness. The answer is, how do I stop evil thoughts from overtaking my mind daily? Oh. Sometimes that's what it looks like. And it's not bad. Some might call it bad, but it's not bad because it's holy. It's not evil, it's holy. And holiness looks like love. And Jesus went to the cross only because of love. I mean, well, lots of other things. I mean, he made the covenant with us. He did all sorts of different things, right? He was here for a time and he taught a lot of things. It was beautiful. But all of it was kind of centered around the fact that he loved us. What is love, love, baby, don't hurt. Sorry, J-Ho. Why did you do that?
You did that on purpose.
Don't trigger my... Yeah, push my buttons, man. Anyways, my point isn't to evangelize you. But my point is to answer your question, how do I stop evil thoughts from overtaking my mind daily? It might look like the cross, but it might not. It might look like all glory. It might look like the most peaceful experience you wish you could have ever had, and you're actually experiencing it, and you're like, how is my life so peaceful? This is amazing. It might look like that. But you don't get there without first accepting the cross. You don't get to the point where you're like at peace and the demons don't have nothing on you, right? And you're not tempted by any of these things. You don't get there without first picking up the cross and carrying it. And what does that mean? It means being holy. It means being virtuous. It means being willing to pursue holiness, good, pursue love above all things, and living that life no matter how hard it gets. Regardless of how much you gain or don't gain, how much you lose, regardless of it all. And when you come to terms with that beautiful joy, everything becomes peace. Because you're just like, yeah, there's always a battle ahead of you, but you've already won. There's always another battle ahead of you, but you've already won. There's always another bad thought. Sure, but you've already won. It's like, it's amazing. It's the best. It's like literally the best feeling and experience as a human being. And to just be chill while the storm and the waves crash against you and you're just out in the water, you're just chilling. You're like, what? It's like, you know, everyone else around you is freaking out because it's like, oh my gosh, we're going to drown in the, you know, it's like the waves are crashing and our boat's like the size of an ant. We're all going to die. And you're just sleeping and they wake you up and you're like, dude, you're going to die. And you're like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's all solved. It's like, I've handled it all because I've already decided I'm going to be holy. And the rest is easy from there. But you have to live the life for a while before that happens, I think. You know, before it really sinks in and you get to realize, oh my gosh, how much love there is and how beautiful it is, how it's worth everything to pursue and give and to give and to give. And it's just good. And, you know, that's not easy. But again, it's awesome. So anyways, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, that's the best I can tell you. And here's the thing. It's controversial.
Yeah.
Super controversial. If you wanna listen to what I just had to say, I mean, everything I just said was like super cringy for probably a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's controversial. But if you decide that's who you're gonna be, it doesn't matter how controversial it is. You have a peace within your heart that it's like, look, it's all good. And I love you. And I love the world that I was put in, even if it's not perfect. I love the people I was given in my life, even though they're not perfect. I love myself, even though I'm not perfect. And it's just like, it's awesome. So, I mean, does that mean again, does that mean it's only gain? Of course not. It's, I'm holy no matter what, period. If you're there, which takes time, the virtues will come. And as long as you have your virtues, I mean, no one can take much from you. I mean, they can take everything, including your life, but no one can really take your virtues away from you. I mean, that's the truth. They can kill you before you lose your virtues. I mean, seriously. So.
And they might. Oh wait,
I mean, unless you get ALS or something, right? But that's, yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyhow, that's my answer to that. And I know, again, it's controversial. It might be cringy, but that's the case. You're talking about evil, and evil's out there, and the spiritual world there's a war there, and you're a part of it, whether you ask to be a part of it or not, and you're a part of it whether you can see it or not. And the evil thoughts happening in your mind, giving you pictures of things that you've seen in the past that are evil, and bringing up desires in the past that you don't wish you had anymore. It's like demons. It's like literally demons. That's literally what it is. And so if you feel like, man, I need to get exercised, that's fine. But my point is, if you pursue holiness, that's the counter. It's like literally the only counter. Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Getting buddy with your guardian angel, if you can do that. You know? And if not, that's fine. But like, be holy. And that's the counter to evil. It always has been, it always will be. And we already know that. It sometimes just takes someone telling you, like, oh yeah, I didn't really think I could do that. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Don't forget that you can. And you can always start from any point, no matter if you just did something stupid. You know, if that was like literally 1 second before you jumped on this show and you're like feeling guilt tripped or something, doesn't matter. Now is a great time to start. Mm-hmm. It could be 1 second after. There's no hesitation to holiness. Right. Holiness will always be there to answer immediately. So will the evil. So they're always willing to answer immediately. So every moment of the day you pick, immediately one's going to respond. So it is important. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know, super spiritual, religious talk, but we're talking about being evil, so here we go. Sorry.
You asked
That's what I had to say.
Man. No. I mean, but I applaud you, and thank you, Ryan. I applaud you, Ominous, for even bringing this up, you know, and mentioning the word evil, because we do live in a fairly relativistic society where there's actually, I don't know, relativism, is it seeming to decline a little bit? Or is it
I think it is.
Is it still out there?
I think it is. It's definitely out there in strong force, but it's declining. Yeah,
relativism is like, well, it's good for me is maybe not good for you, but there's no really right or wrong. It's just whatever, right? And so, like, but come on. Like, seriously, I mean,
you have to recognize.
I don't get on board with relativism, and you know, but if you subscribe to relativism, there really is no evil.
Right.
Right.
And then you can't really ask any of these questions because they don't matter.
In the chat, how do you get close to your guardian angel? You say, hey, guardian angel, help me out, buddy.
Help me out, buddy. Dying here.
Bro. You say, bro,
where you been?
Throw me a freaking bone, man. Like,
yeah, use naughty words with your angel. That'll get him real close. Oh my gosh.
No, really, it's just saying that, just getting close to your guardian angel is just that. It's just like saying, hey, guardian angel, help me. You know, like, and I know not all faiths believe in guardian angels, you know, whatever. Ryan and I are both Catholics. We definitely do believe in guardian angels. And we all have one. And they're there to help us, right? They're there to, you know, kind of help us out. And you can say, hey, can you give me a hand? I'm really struggling here. Can you give me a hand? Mm-hmm. And you can pray. You can pray to God. You can pray to the angels. You can pray to the saints. You know, you can whatever. And that also is controversial within Christian communities. But August, mine seems much cooler and chill than I am. Probably got holy swag and style. Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
I imagine my guardian angel is basically eternally going like this. Like shaking their head, like, dude.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, here's the thing about guardian angels. I'll do a little tiny rundown. I'm not going to go very in depth because if you want to know stuff about that, look up Father Ripperger. Is that right? Ripperger.
He's an exorcist.
He's an exorcist
somewhere. Yeah.
He's an exorcist. I think, I don't know. I was just about to say out in Minnesota, but I could be totally wrong. So it doesn't matter where he's out in.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is, he has some really good talks about guardian angels, and part of what he understands comes from understanding demons. But that part doesn't matter. What I was going to say is this: in theology, what happens is you're made, and God loves you, and God creates for you something that is above you and more powerful than you, better than you pretty much in every way. But he creates it for you, and he asks it, the angel, if they will love you. And the angel already knows who you are. Mm-hmm. And if the angel says yes, then they become your guardian angel. If God creates an angel for you and they say no, well, it means they can't love you. And
well, kind of by default,
can't love. Yeah, that means they kind of become demons.
By default.
It's not like I gave you this order and you faulted, so I've sent you to hell. But it's more of a you refuse to love, and so therefore, the refusal to love is refusal of God Himself, because God is love. So it kind of works like that. So, that happens less often than whatever. But no one has a guardian demon, so that's good to know.
No, they wouldn't be guarding you.
But they wouldn't be guarding you if they did. Yeah,
that's not the appropriate terminology.
And the idea is that if your guardian angel said no and became a demon, God would then make another one for you until one said yes, that they would love you. So everyone has a guardian angel that loves them. So it's important to know that. Why? Because you should address your guardian angel with that in mind. That your guardian angel chose you, and that you love, and that they love you, and they want the best from you, even though you're this broken person. So ask them to help you. Listen to them if you can. Try to side with them. Try to understand things from their perspective if you can. And it's like, well, I don't know, I don't speak angel, and I can't even think like an angel, and that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. But I think start by learning and start by listening. And I know that's kind of hard because, well, there's a long spiritual road ahead of you. But there was some saints like St. John Paul II who didn't know other people didn't see their guardian angels and talk to them until he was 10. He was 10 before he realized that. It was like, wait, not everybody talks to their guardian angel? What? Not everybody sees their guardian angel? Yeah, he could see their guard. Yeah, he could see
the immaterial being. No, so what happened was that guardian angel manifested.
Guardian angel, yes, right. Yes.
Because a purely not like spiritual being has no material matter to them, and so like they have to somehow
the guardian angel was
through
displaying
manipulating matter.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, and so it was kind of an interesting story. Apparently, what happened? Something like he was at a playground, and someone was like, "Hey, did you see where blah 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 went?" And he just turned to them and said, "Why don't you just ask your guardian angel?" And then they looked at him like, "Are you mad?" And he's like, "Where is he?" And then the guardian angel responded and he said, "He's over in the woods that way, about like 13 meters. And then they go there and they find him, and he was like, okay, that was weird. So that was when he first learned. He was like, wait. Well, that's the story anyways. That's when he first learned. Maybe he learned before that, but yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yep. Oh man, you guys are fun.
Yeah.
Yes, demons certainly can haunt you. They will never guard you, but they'll poke at you, they'll tempt you, they'll do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they certainly do.
Hero, my guardian angel must be on their last straw waiting for me to ask for their help. Meanwhile, I'm on attempt number 3,434,122 of trying to take things into my own hands.
I love that, Hero.
So real, man.
So much. So good.
So real.
So good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Kendra, it's good to see you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Been a little bit.
Welcome home.
I hope you're doing well, too. We're doing great.
Yeah, me too. But
anyways,
if you had anything more, go ahead.
I was just reading the chat. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask you to continue on your side of what you ever had to say for the topic. But
I'm the host. I can take over.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll just yank it out of your hands.
I'll just get my humble self back over here. I was
letting you talk out of the kindness of my heart.
Oh my gosh, you're so
that's
charitable.
The virtue.
You're the best, Joe.
Exactly. All right. Super Neon Blue. One time I asked my guardian angel to calm a dog, and it did. But the other time I asked for an avocado, and I didn't get one. So you know what? Sometimes it works,
They
sometimes it
are a bit
doesn't. You're
picky.
right. But here's the thing: sometimes what you want isn't what's good for you. I know you said that somewhere up there, Neon Blue, in the chat. Where was it? I say genuinely want good for yourself, not want what you want.
That's so good.
Making choices that bring you good in your life are way better than making choices for what you want. Because, yeah, you're absolutely
That's
right.
so true.
Sometimes what we want isn't exactly what's the best for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want chocolate Twinkies all the time because they're so good. That's a controversial statement. But I did find
That's
chocolate.
okay.
I did find chocolate lovers Twinkies.
Mm.
I've only seen them in one store. They're
Oh, it's
like
with the chocolate swirl on the inside.
chocolate cake with chocolate filling.
Swirl on the inside. And the chocolate cocoa chocolate surrounding thing. Whatever that
No,
thing's
there's
called.
not. There's not an icing around it. It's like a
Oh.
Twinkie. It's just the cake. It's like a
Oh,
Twinkie.
sorry, you said Twinkie. I was thinking Swiss cake roll.
No.
My bad. Now I get it. Yeah, chocolate Twinkie with chocolate cream inside. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know why I was thinking Swiss cake roll. That's weird.
What, Zay? Was this? They're good. I should put squeezed cheese on one.
Would it be considered cheese lovers or chocolate lovers though? That's the
chocolate Twinkie with squeezed cheese. Oh,
yeah, chocolate cheese lovers Twinkie.
so
You
good.
should nuke it and then eat it.
But the point isn't the Twinkie. The point is I like them, and the point is that I shouldn't eat them all the time, even though I'd like to. There's never a time when I don't want one.
Wow. Even after you've eaten several, you're like, I still want one. I'm just too full at this point.
Right?
I know it's good for me, and I don't want to.
It tastes good. It's like
Ew.
Chick-fil-A, man. Even though I'm
Yeah.
stuffed full to the gills, like I would still want that taste in my mouth, right? Because it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, just because you want something doesn't make it good for you. But we cater to our wants and our desires all the time. And sometimes our desires are evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's what we want. But just having an evil desire is not evil in and of itself. Taking the action is the evil, is really where it steps into being bad. But even then, that doesn't make you yourself bad. It just means you did a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. You're capable of good and capable of bad.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Zay, the only good products Hostess makes are the Mega Chocolate Muffin and the Powered Donuts, but Twinkies are not a Hostess product. Oh wait, it is a Hostess product. Well, then you're wrong. That's a wrong statement.
I don't think Twinkies were originally Hostess. Is that true? I don't. Twinkies weren't originally Hostess, but I could be wrong about that.
They are now.
Yeah, they are now. I know, that's what I'm just saying. I think they weren't when they first created, but they are now for sure.
And yes, I have a box of them next to my desk. Call me weird. I don't care. Kendra says to keep evil thoughts away, I always start praying the Our Father or some other prayer. That's definitely a very good thing to do.
It was made by Hostess. Sorry.
Was always made by Hostess.
Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
And Kendra also wish your mom a happy birthday. I'm sure you will. But happy birthday to your mom. And Super Neon Blue says definitely prayer does help with the bad thoughts or any struggles. Just asking for peace of mind and goodness and guidance will reset your mind, and you will see things in another light. At least for me.
Yeah, for me too.
Yep. You're gonna drown in the cheese and the Twinkies, man. Like, I actually don't have any squeezed cheese. I keep forgetting to put it on my list. I know that's an evil thing. That's an evil action that I keep.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
Kendra.
and I understand Twinkies can make you feel queasy. There's a lot of foods that I really like to eat that make me feel queasy. One that's recent is Cheetos,
Hmm.
but only the regular ones. The puffs I can eat and not feel sick to my stomach,
What?
but the regular ones,
I
if I eat enough of
Okay. Well,
them,
I
I
guess the regular
feel
ones
a
are
bit sick to
much
my
more
stomach.
dense.
Yeah. So I don't
So,
know. It's weird. Like I can eat a
hmm,
handful of them or whatever and be fine. But if I like even if I eat a whole little bag, one of those little like a bag you get at
okay, yeah.
Subway or whatever, even just a whole one of those would make me feel a bit sick to my stomach. It's weird. Hey, Kendra, puffs. Yeah, anything with lots of sugar makes me feel unwell. But yum, I tell you what, I could eat a whole tray of those brownies that you made, super neon blue. They're good.
Yeah.
They're good. And I did eat. I ate like
Here,
all of those.
I heard her laughing in the other room.
I look so happy. I was happy when you brought those. I was so glad. Um,
That's so
um,
good.
but yeah, those are good. Those are good brownies. And with that, whatever the cream, whatever stuff that you made the first time, that sauce, whatever
Mm-hmm.
cream frosting, whatever that it was.
I'm gonna. I'll answer.
I don't even,
It was a
what?
type of whipped cream,
Okay.
but it comes with a mascarpone sauce or mascarpone cheese in it.
Okay.
So it's
Gotcha.
it. I don't know the name of it, but Super Neon Blue should know.
Chantilly
There you go.
French whipped cream. All right. I like that on those
Yeah,
brownies.
that's good.
That's where it's that's great. Fantastic.
That's amazing.
I want to eat those all the time,
Okay, yeah, back to the point.
but it's not good for me.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So but I tell you, ominous, just the fact that oh wow, you replace white sugar with brown. That a lot of times I like things with brown sugar better.
Yeah, us
Um,
too.
yeah. Ominous. Just the very fact that you're bringing this to light tells me that you're fighting and tells me that you're doing well. Because
Mm-hmm.
this is a struggle, and it's a struggle that we're going to continue with our entire lives. And, honestly, Kendra, that was a really good answer where you're like, just start praying the Our Father or some other kind of prayer. You can say Hail Mary. You can say the Our Father. You can say, you can say a prayer and like it's amazing how much at ease you can be sometimes just as a result of that. Pray for help, right? So, and like Ryan was talking about, this is we're talking about evil, so we're also talking about holiness, so we're talking about spiritual things, which may cause some people to tune out immediately, right? Because they don't want to hear about that kind of stuff, and I understand that. That's fine, whatever. But I'll tell you, the very fact that you recognize that there's evil in the world is good, and you recognize that there's a choice.
Mm.
But I want to encourage you again that just because you have evil thoughts, evil desires, evil temptations, even when you commit evil actions, it does not make you yourself evil. We talk about terrorists. We talk about massive people who have done massively bad things throughout history. Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, Adolf Hitler, all these people that have done tremendously evil things. They themselves were not evil. That also is a controversial statement. A lot of people would call them evil. Even relativists who don't believe that evil exists will call those people evil, which I'm like, dude, make up your stinking mind. Is there evil or is there not evil? Right?
Mm.
You can confront a relativist on some of these things where they're like, oh well, it's just, hey, whatever some people think is good for them, and whatever some people think is bad for them. Okay, well, what about Hitler? Oh, that guy's definitely evil. Well, you can't argue both sides of the argument. Right? Like either But I'm arguing that he himself, these people that did tremendously evil things, they themselves were not evil. They did evil stuff. They gave into evil thoughts. They pursued evil thinking to the point where they committed evil actions, and then that became a habit. It became a way of life, and then it became so tremendously horrible that it hurt or killed or did destruction on a massive scale. Which that's the end of evil. That's the logical end conclusion. If you pursue evil, it ends up destroying. And even if it's just a little bit, we just think, oh, it's not hurting anybody. Maybe not now. But it's hurting you inside because it's creating a path for you to walk on that leads toward destruction. It leads toward the destroying of lots of people's lives. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing I see now is I see people who will do this in the name of holiness. They hate people because they're not Christian. And I'm like, or they abuse people because they're not Christian. Rather than trying to be compassionate and help them, they'll say, you're gay. I hate you now, right? And it's like, dude, stop using holiness as a reason to hate, because that cancels it out. Makes me mad. I swear, man, like some of this, it's funny to me because I'm like, I'm a Catholic, but the people I'm the hardest on are other Catholics.
That's good. That's good. I think you should be.
I'm like, stop being that way. That's not right. Yes. So here's the thing. I would say, how do you stop it? Go back and listen to what Ryan said. And here's what I could say. Look up the 7 deadly sins. Here's a little homework for you. You can look up the 7 deadly sins, and you can look up their whatever, the 7 heavenly
antecedent. That's
virtues. What?
I was gonna say antecedent. I'm like, I don't know where it's from, but it doesn't
they're
mean what I thought it meant.
opposites or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got 7 heavenly virtues that go against that will derail the 7 deadly sins. Because I'll tell you what, whatever it is, whatever evil thought, whatever evil desire, whatever thing you're doing, you could put it in the category of one of the 7 deadly sins. I almost guarantee you. And like Ryan said so profoundly, truthfully at the beginning, the chief of the virtues is humility, which is the direct opposite of the chief of the 7 deadly sins, which is pride. Because all of the rest of those, when you draw them back, when you take them back and look, where is the source of this sin, it always originates in some form of pride. And I'm not talking about a bad kind of pride, like being proud of yourself, all this kind of stuff. Those are good. There's good pride. What I'm talking about is the pride that says, I'm all that. And what I need, it's all about me. It's all about what I want, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that kind of pride. Right? And the pride that I'm more important than everything else in the world. I'm the most important thing here.
You could say, my desire, or this thing I want for me, is more important than being holy. It's like, well, then you don't understand holiness. It's like what you want. It's like, yeah, I care about what you want, but if it's evil, like, it has no place in you because it will destroy you. And that's not anything that I want. And it's not anyone who loves you wants. So, yeah, pride is really is a very in a root cause of the evils.
And I'm going to say something that's really going to be uncomfortable. But every single founder of every non-Catholic Christian church that's out there, when they founded it, pride was the factor. because their interpretation of the scripture was more important
Than being unified
than being
with people
unified.
that they didn't like.
It was all about them
Yeah,
and their pride.
unfortunately.
I'm sorry. Look up history. Now, I'm not saying people that are members of those churches now are prideful people. No. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the person who founded it and broke away from whatever it was. Pride was the issue. I'm sorry. Now, sometimes they did it in response to, like corruption that was happening in the church, but doesn't mean you leave. That just means you get involved and fix it. You don't start a new religion, right? But
yeah, you don't go like, oh, my family's broken, I'm gonna go start a new one.
Yeah, right.
Well, some people do, but that's not the right response.
Right. So anyway, I'm sorry. That was probably, yeah, we lost people on that one probably.
Maybe a little too far.
So here's the thing. Ominous, you say you fear for your soul. Okay.
Good.
I've done that too. I have definitely feared for my soul many times. So there are things you can do. How do I stop evil thoughts from, I'm going to read it again. How do I stop evil thoughts from taking over my mind daily? Sometimes you can't stop them from coming in. You can stop them from overtaking your mind by pursuing virtues. Look up the 7 heavenly virtues and see what sin they counteract. Whatever category of sin or evil it is that you're dealing with, pursue that particular virtue. Look
Very
into
smart.
that and pursue that one, right? And so you can totally do that. A fear for your soul, that's okay. But we can't, that's why there's confession. For Catholics, we have confession. That helps us be at peace. That helps us know that we are forgiven, beyond the shadow of a doubt, because we're there with the priest and they've been given that power. But here's the thing you can do. If you're a Christian and you're struggling, pray Psalm 51. Psalm 51 is the ultimate prayer of repentance. Because the Psalms are a book of prayers, right? Like that's basically what they're. Songs, prayers, all this kind of stuff is basically expressing, that's what it's looked at. It's the prayer book of the Bible. And Psalm 51 is like the granddaddy of all sins of repentance and saying, I'm sorry. So if you're fearing for your soul, all you got to do is say, man, you can pray. You can say, God, I'm sorry. I say an act of contrition all the time, generally on a daily basis. It's baked into the Lord's Prayer. Like when you pray the Lord's Prayer, there is that in there. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Oh, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, right? So but there's an interesting thing with that whole statement. Like, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So if I'm not forgiving people who trespass against me, if I'm saying, hey, forgive me as I forgive others, then if they're forgiving me the same amount as I'm forgiving them, yeah. So, but you can say the Lord's Prayer. That's in there. You can say, you can look up an act of contrition. I say it all the time. Or Psalm 51. I've found that to be exceptionally helpful at bringing peace and all this stuff. Is it good enough to simply resist the urges to do bad things? Yes. It is good enough. You are good enough. I would say you can always go farther and pursue virtue. Right? Is it good enough to have self-control to not do them? Yes. Well, I don't know. Is it good? I guess it depends on the definition of good enough. I would say to really be at better
That's what I first
peace,
said too.
um, to really be at peace, uh, you can go further and pursue virtue. And what will happen is you will then be at a point where these things come into your mind and you almost automatically do like what Super Niamblu was saying, and you dismiss them. You almost get to the point where you're like, I don't even, like, why would I even want to think that? Like, something comes into your mind and it's so far gone from your habitual thinking because you're pursuing virtue. You just automatically like, well, this is totally not characteristic of me, and you just dismiss it immediately. It's just gone, right? Something crosses your mind and like, no. Right? And I love what Super Neon Blue said also, where it was like, I dismissed them without emotion. Where what was the statement there?
What was that?
It was way up here. The more often I completely dismiss them, especially with no emotional reaction, the less it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is absolutely
That's
true.
So key.
Absolutely true. Because it's just like, like I talk about this when I'm talking about meditation. If a thought comes in my head, I just say, thank you, you're dismissed. Very unemotionally. I don't get upset at the thought that came into my head. I don't get upset at myself for having a thought. I take all the drama out of it. And I just say, you're dismissed. And it's gone. And the better you can do at that, that will help. But then dig into those virtues and pursue them. I got a great book about, I got it from my sister-in-law, actually. It was something about virtues. But there's each month you pursue a different virtue. So there's 12 different virtues in there. And I just got done with this is July, the last day of July. I just got done with the virtue of simplicity. And the next virtue is diligence, which happens to be the counter to the deadly sin of sloth. So the month of August is the month on diligence. And there's a reading for every day. And it's all a saint, one of the saints, a quote from a saint, and then a little blurb about what it meant or what they did, or how they lived their life in accordance with that statement or whatever, right? So it offers encouragement and perspective and wisdom on how to pursue these particular virtues. Now, I have argued with this book a lot because it's written by a bunch of people who were like in monasteries and stuff. And so I'm just like, okay, so that has nothing to do with my way of life because I don't live in a stinking monastery and I haven't taken a vow of silence and like, so, but I argue with stuff because it doesn't pertain to me personally.
Kind of just got to let it go, but I get it. I do that sometimes too. I feel ya.
Yep. But anyway, so if you pursue those virtues, then that would be the way to do it. And what you'll find is you're able then to have a lot more self-control. And it's weird because sometimes we go down a path of evil for so long that it just becomes a habit. And so then, you're habitually thinking these thoughts, you're habitually committing sins, you're habitually doing all these things, right? And then you can take an area and you can pursue a virtue in that area. And after a while, you no longer are doing evil things, and then you're no longer having the evil thoughts because you're filling your mind with the virtue instead. You're pursuing the virtue. And then when it comes into your mind, after you've gone a while, it is so foreign. And you look back and you're like, man, I used to obsess about this all the time. Like I used to think about these things all the time. It was like part of who I was, it felt like, because it was all the time in my mind. And now it's so far removed from my mind when the even inkling of a thought of it comes in. it's like it surprises you.
It kind of disgusts you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can look back and you can be like, oh man, I used to be such a bad person. But no, it's not that you used to be a bad person. You were never a bad person. You just, had bad thoughts, bad actions, whatever, right? But they aren't who you are. Don't identify with evil because it's not who you are. It's not a part of you. I remember that was one of the biggest, most influential things I read the first time I was going into confession. I was reading about confession. And it was like the main thing here is to separate your sins from who you are. You're separating those evil things and evil thoughts. You're separating those from you because they aren't you. They're either things you think or things you do, but it is not who you are. So I want to encourage you. It is not an evil self. It is not an act of an evil self because you yourself are not evil. You're just pursued by evil constantly. Like all of us. It's all around us. And so it comes into our brains and it comes into our minds and it comes into our daily lives and we see it right in front of us and all this kind of stuff. And so then here it is. But it's not who you are. Okay? So anyway, I hope that was very helpful.
I hope that was very helpful. Yes, I do.
I hope it was helpful.
And very much so at that.
Yeah, I very much hope it was helpful.
Yeah. That's different. Okay.
Thank you, Super Neon Blue. Oh yes, Saule. Good question. And good answer, Ryan. I'm just reading the chat.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the statements to Rome. I don't think that's a correct thing, but if you can read what he pinned on his door and
the 95 Theses.
There you go. You can read the 95 Theses and decide for yourself what where his heart was at.
Well, in a lot of ways, here's the problem. There was a bishop doing wrong things in his area. And they were wrong according to the Catholic Church. It's just they didn't have the internet, to like show that he was doing these all the time. Like everything was localized and they didn't have information traveling as fast as we do now, right? So he had a bad bishop in an area that was doing something
that he was serving in as a priest.
Yep, and he was in that area as a priest. And so he was calling these things to account. That was where it started. But then he took it and he pushed it way farther than he should have. And like you go through, like this took years of going back and forth before he finally broke away, right? He was going back and forth to different councils and going through stuff and whatever. And the most hilarious thing of that whole ordeal, and this cracks me up to no end. One of the products of that whole thing was something called, there were two main things. There's sola fide, faith alone. We are saved by faith alone and not by works, right? That's one of Luther's things that he said. And sola scriptura, which is scripture alone, which is basically say, I rely on the Bible alone, no other authority except the Bible. And the funny thing was he threw out books of the Bible as he was saying that. Like he threw out 7 books of the Old Testament, which are still gone from Protestant Bibles. He wanted to throw out a bunch of the New Testament too. He wanted to throw out Hebrews, James, Revelation, like I think Peter's epistles. There was a whole bunch of other stuff that he wanted to throw out. Right? Because it didn't agree with what he was proposing. But he's like, Bible alone is my authority. But then he's like, I'm gonna come up with what the Bible is. right? Crazy.
And then he wrote into the Bible, which is just everybody knows. He wrote his own words into the Bible
mhm.
at a very specific point to say, by faith alone and not by works, whatever.
Right.
By
Yeah,
faith alone we are saved, something like that.
yeah, but he added the word alone.
Yeah, he added the word alone so that it would say what he wanted it to say,
Yep.
which is that's a him over the Bible thing. That's a him over the his
Exactly.
whatever.
And
So
well,
yeah,
and he wanted to throw out the book of James because in the book of James is the only time where the two words faith and alone are side by side.
and he wanted to throw that one out.
Well, yeah, but it says, but it's the only time where faith alone is actually in the Bible. Those two words next to each other, and it says you are not saved by faith alone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh well. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't want to sit there on the topic for too long, but
Right, I
yeah.
know, but
Yeah,
yeah,
so I was like, just read what he said. And the reason I said to read what he said is not necessarily to look at all of that, but more so if you look at the way he addresses people and the words he calls them, and there's a lot going on there that it's like,
he was
it
really
doesn't
angry.
seem
There's a lot of anger
like he
there.
wants the best for people. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of anger there
But
for sure.
understandably so. When you're wronged enough, you get
Hmm.
angry, and that's okay. But
Yep.
you don't have to undermine people and call them names and intentionally try to make them angry with your
Yeah.
words.
You don't have to. You don't have to say you're gonna defecate into the Pope's hat.
Yeah, you don't have to say that.
But anyway, I'm not here to charge you up. But I'm probably not. I don't know. If you got questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But I had to study all this stuff as I was going toward Catholicism because I grew up a Methodist and then was an evangelical and then eventually a Catholic. And my journey, I had to wrestle with all of this stuff, all of it. And yeah, so there's there's a lot of stuff in there. But anyway, on that note, sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. We all right. Well, anyways,
Yeah.
moving on.
Yep. So, Ominous Anonymous, thank you for your topic. And no, you're
Mm,
not an evil self. And the very fact that you would identify it as something that's evil says a lot about who you are and says a lot of good about who you are because you recognize the fact that it's evil. And I applaud you for that.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
So what I would say is if you're feeling guilty, that's okay. We all feel guilty when we do bad things or think bad things or pursue evil things, whatever. You can find solace in, like Kendra said, in the Lord's Prayer. You can ask your guardian angel for help, like Ryan was talking about. I'll tell you, the biggest one for me was Psalm 51. You want peace. You want to have that. You're in that moment where you feel guilty about the evil thoughts or evil
Mhm,
desires going on, or something that you did that was evil. You know, Psalm 51 to me was like that's
mhm,
the moment where you kind of just lay it all out, and you're just like, I was wrong. I did it. I'm sorry. I have no excuse. Right?
mhm. Yeah, good one.
And
Powerful.
I'm sorry. But it's that act of genuine repentance where it's like I realize it was wrong. I realize it was wrong, and I realize that I did it. And yeah, and there's always that guilt is that prompting to repentance, and that repentance is healing.
True.
And not only that, like I'm kind of glad that I've had such a long struggle with evil and still do because I'll never end up like, well, hopefully I'll never end up like a person that says, well, just don't do that and then you'll be fine. You're right.
Hmm. It's not that easy.
Because then that's a prideful statement in and of itself. Well, I'm better than you because I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't have financial problems. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. Why did you even decide you wanted financial problems? What are you, an idiot? Yeah, clearly I am. Can you help me? No. No, I can't. I never did something that stupid. Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Thank you. You jerk.
Yep. Nah, I can relate. Ominous Anonymous.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand being surrounded by that. It's not an easy place to be. But yeah, I think the more you pursue virtue, the better off you'll be. So thank you so much for the topic. Ryan, do you have anything else?
Nope, I don't have anything else.
All right, cool. Because, yeah, we got to wrap things up here. It's after 10.
Mhm.
Thank you guys
That's
for
right.
bearing with us. Sorry it got a little bit weirdly religious.
Yeah, who's still left after all that, huh?
I don't know.
Who's the trooper that to bear all of that? A wild ride. Oh man. Oh man.
Yes.
Great.
Hey,
thank you.
Here. Glad you're still here.
Thanks, wifey.
And Moonlit.
Yay, Moonlit. Hey, Kendra,
Hey.
thank you. I love you. Aw,
Love
hi,
you
August.
guys.
Hey, Sally. Very interesting to listen to.
Definitely spaced out. I get you, J-Ho.
Definitely,
All
spaced out. Fair enough, J-Ho.
I spaced out too while I was saying it.
Sally, if it didn't touch on the topic you were hoping for, then feel free to post the topic you were hoping to have covered.
Well, we covered
yeah, hey,
J-Ho's
Jesse,
topic.
Kendra. Oh no, it's Saule.
Oh, yeah.
Saule said at the beginning of this topic that we just did that it sounded similar to something they wanted to have covered, and so they're like, "Hey, maybe they'll cover it." But
or maybe Ominous Anonymous is Saule.
Yeah, and Saule
you don't have to identify yourself.
That is pretty. That would have been pretty sly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty sly for some kind of guy. And yeah, so guys, if you have topics, go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button. We'd love to talk about it. We'd love to do that. Next week I will not be here. It'll be the last week of this summer that I won't be here.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's the last week that I have my kids for a whole week.
Oh yeah, I guess in a way it's not as great because but it's great for us. Don't worry, Wednesdaysers.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Wednesdayserians.
So things will be back a little bit more consistent after next week. But
you sure did.
You wrote a topic in the midst of your rage the other day. Yes, I see that.
Yeah, she did. It's in there.
Feel free to. Hey, you know what? When you're raging, feel free to go to don'tworrywednesday.com.
Mm-hmm.
Write
That's
a
awesome.
topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, thank you, J-Ho.
Oh, I'm glad something else lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's great, Kendra.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, J-Ho.
Yep. And if you want to argue with me about religion, feel free to hit me up on Discord.
Ooh. Hey, that's fun. Uh-huh.
I'll set you straight.
But if you want to argue about politics, Joe doesn't do politics. So you're going to have to find somebody else.
No, I'll do politics.
Yeah, that's true. You will do politics. Yeah. You just don't like politics.
Just understand.
Why would you?
Just understand, I'm gonna rail against the right and the left.
Yeah, that's right.
Both of them.
And left. Both of them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Oh, J-Ho.
Submit those topics.
Wonderful. Remember to tell your loved ones that you love them. Do that.
That's right.
And remember to tell your loved ones that I love them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, give them a nice hug and say, I love you. And Joe loves you. This hug's from him. And then
they'll be like, who's
let that
Joe?
awkwardness be the thing for the while and just simmer in the awkwardness and enjoy it.
Yeah. Embrace the awkward. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you guys so much for being here. We love you guys and we love being here. Joe Mama. That's right.
Joe
Mama. We'll see you next time. Ryan will be here with hopefully we'll be here with another person.
That's right. Well, we'll
And
see.
yes,
Find out
Super
next
Neon
week.
Blue will fill in for me next week and
Mhm.
reply to her own topic. Perfect.
Nice.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can
so
teach yourself something. That'll be good.
that's right. You're like, what's wrong with you? Oh, why were you even doing that?
Here's the
Stupid.
answer. The
Yeah,
answer to your problem is
you
make
can rail against
brownies
yourself.
and give them to
Ooh,
Joe.
wow. So many things solved at that moment. Bye, babe. You message me on Discord later, please. Okay, Jesse, I will.
You message me. Yes. It would make you feel better. Hey, if it's therapeutic for you to make brownies,
Yeah, that's true.
just understand if I'm around, they won't go to waste.
Therapeutic baking.
That'd be good. But all right.
Just know that the brownies aren't therapeutic themselves. They're just regular brownies, but the process of making them is therapeutic. So,
No, I get
of
that. I
course,
get you.
you know, honestly though, all brownies are pretty therapeutic. Let's be honest.
They're just
There's
not the
something about brownies
kind
that
that
makes
you
you
would
feel
buy at a
happy.
place that are therapeutic brownies.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they don't have rocks of sulfire weird stuff in them.
Right, they're not medicated.
That's so true.
Yes. They're just really, really good. But
That's right. They're really good.
they could be therapeutic with a little more effort.
Nope. No more effort allowed. They're perfect as they are.
They are good as they are. I think
Yeah.
adding that extra flavor that would be the medicinal flavor would wreck them.
It would
They're
wreck 'em, I'm
great the way
positive.
they are.
I've never tasted it, but I'm positive it would wreck it because that sounds dumb. In my opinion.
Yep. No, they're perfect the way they
Just
are.
eat them separately if you want them. Just, but don't ruin the brownies. They're already good.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's nothing whipped cream can't fix. Yes.
Oh no. That's awful.
All right, guys. Well,
Amazing.
we'll see you next time. We'll see you. I'll see you again in 2 weeks, and Ryan will be here next week with a undisclosed guest.
That's right.
But we love you guys, and thank you for being here. And go to don'tworrywednesday.com, and we love you. Until next time.
That's right.
See you
Sure
later.
do. Bye now.
Bye bye.
Peace.